All right, welcome back to Ripe Avocados, episode 19. Today we've got a special one. I'm fired up about it. We've got Joker. I'm going to mispronounce this. FOLIE. Joker FOLIE du. FOLIE du. Merci. And we're going to probably take a big fat dump on this, so stay tuned for everything, and let's get into it.
Daydream, I fell asleep amid the flowers for a couple of hours on a beautiful day. Daydream.
Joker 2 takes place like 4 days to a week after the original Joker movie. It's following the main character, Arthur Fleck, as he's now in prison awaiting his trial. And this sequel, man, it goes all over the place, but basically it's Arthur trying to figure out himself and whether he's Arthur Fleck or the Joker or both. And he's introduced to some pussy for the first time. And he just goes off the fucking rails. And it's Lady Gaga. Her character's name is Lee. I guess they tried to make a play on Harley Quinn, but
Lee Quinzel.
Yeah, but boy was she far from the Harley Quinn we all know and love. And basically Arthur is trying to figure out his whole turmoil with his alter ego, the Joker, while Lee is trying to burn the world to the ground. And in the end, no one wins.
We all lose for
the
viewers
lose.
For paying to go watch this, but that's what we do it for a reason, so you don't have to go see it. So I give characters a 6.8. What'd you give it?
Wow. I gave characters a 3.5.
Oh my god. I honestly don't hate that either. You know why I brought it up was because Joaquin Phoenix is he's phenomenal. He's phenomenal in this role. I mean, acting wise, the character is still fine to me. I just think the Joker character is still excellent.
Arthur Fleck is excellent. And like his alter ego Joker, it's just not the Joker though.
It's not. And anybody in the comments that says that it's not the same, like it's Todd Phillips has come out and said it's not the Joker from like the Batman franchise. Like I get that, but it's still the namesake, and I will always compare it. I'll always compare it to the Mask of Phantasm. Did I mispronounce that?
I think that's right.
That obviously Heath Ledger, Jack Nicholson. I mean, and Jared Leto, I guess, but not really. He would make this movie even worse if he was trying to sing in this. But Harley Quinn...
His singing is good, though.
Oh, that is a good point.
Yeah, 30 Seconds to Mars.
I stand corrected there. But Jared Leto is definitely... Joaquin Phoenix...
It would have been hard for him to make this movie worse.
That's true. I just think Joaquin Phoenix does a great job still playing this character, but more of the problems with this movie align with the storytelling and the overall, like, everything besides the characters. I didn't think Joaquin Phoenix hurt the movie. That's my point.
No. And to your point too, I feel like Joaquin Phoenix played the character really well. The problem is it's just not the Joker. And I get like it's supposed to be like a different Joker, not tied into like the DCU or the Batman movies, but at the same time, like, just make it a different movie then. It's like you're just ripping off the name and making a movie off of it versus like just make Arthur Fleck a serial killer.
Yeah, and you're just
and
making
also just don't put songs in the movie, but whatever.
Yeah. So the other characters too, we have to mention them. We have these security guards who are just the most typecasted security guards, like who are corrupt. Well, not really. They're just assholes, and they get pleasure out of like beating up mental patients, which is sad to see. So there's like
Who
a
weigh,
little
like,
bit.
4 pounds.
Yeah, that's another thing that was really cool about him. Like they showed you right away how frail and like disgusting looking his body was to get into this role. Joaquin
Yeah.
Phoenix when he's walking out in the original part of the movie,
Yeah, he was like a Christian Bale in The Machinist.
or the
Where he's
fighter,
just like-
yeah.
Yeah.
And I appreciate that kind of stuff because that is method acting to a whole other degree. I don't even know if that doesn't even count as method acting, I guess, but they're just dedicating their entire livelihood to their health and whatnot to just make it look really cool. So I appreciate that. Thanks for risking your life, Joaquin. But it wasn't worth it because this movie fucking sucks. So the other good character I thought was our boy Gary Puddles, who takes the stand at the very end. He gives a great testimony.
You kind of look like Gary Puddles a little bit.
Yeah, that's what I get. I've heard that a couple times before. I'm gonna take that as a compliment. He's our short king, and he takes an awesome stand as a key witness in the Joker trial, and that's sort of this entire movie is him just on trial while being. I mean, the fact that he's on trial for committing first-degree murder on national TV is just fucking ridiculous in its own right. But that's sort of the entire thing, and you alluded to it, but Harley Quinn, I don't mind Lady Gaga as an actress. I think she's a good actress, honestly, but I don't think she comes close to Margot Robbie's portrayal of the character, and they try to do way too much to make it different. More so with her than Joker. This shit bothered me, like how much they try to make this character its own, but it's not. Harley Quinn is an established character of the DCU, and I know this movie is not technically a part of the DCU, but then just give them different characters, you know?
Yeah.
It's like Harley Quinn does not come from a wealthy family. Harley Quinn is she's also like why would she be motivated to be so infatuated with the Joker when her family life apparently is just completely fine at home and everything is normal, and she just makes up this ridiculous lie to say that she just did it because she wants to be a follower of the Joker. That part never really made sense to me.
I feel like they included that because the whole movie is basically about Arthur Fleck and his inner turmoil with his alter ego, the Joker, and how he uses the Joker as a mask whenever he feels like belittled or embarrassed or like feels like he's getting beaten up, and he turns to like this forceful evil nature in the Joker, right? So he's using that as a mask for his own personal issues, and like that's the whole court case, right? It's like whether he's insane or is he Arthur Fleck and he knows what he's doing. Whereas they showed Harley as like the same kind of thing, except like she grew up like, okay, her father's a doctor, but she actually is just a fucking psychopath. Like she wants to like see the world burn because she's just insane, and she wants to be like glorified as well.
Yeah, I guess. I just didn't think that it really played as well. I think Harley Quinn is
it didn't
just
matter. The movie, it still sucked.
I just think Harley Quinn is Harley Quinn. Like, don't change. She's a great character. Don't make her a snobby rich girl who's just misinformed and stupid because she's following this guy who's crazy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I didn't understand that whole ploy. So to me, it just kind of took away from her character when we had this whole marketing scheme of we got Lady Gaga and Joaquin Phoenix, and then it was just a huge letdown to me that I just didn't think she really played the role that well because the character was written differently than it should have been.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, it was just so far off from the Harley Quinn, like I said, we all know and love. So it just completely threw you off. And then, God, the amount of songs they had was fucking insane.
Right. So I think that covers the characters. There's not that many of them, and again, like I don't dislike that part of it, but there just wasn't a lot of development either. Like Joaquin Phoenix's character was kind of the same guy. Obviously, it's the same character. That's kind of a dumb thing to say, but they were fine. So that's why I went 6.8. You went
Yeah.
what 3.5, right?
3.5, yeah. Honestly,
Yeah.
all the other characters they had in the movie were literally just shitting on Arthur Fleck the whole time.
Yeah.
They brought his neighbor back, and she's like, "Yeah, his mom said he's not funny."
Yeah.
His mom was shitting on him.
And we also had De Niro in the first movie, who's Robert De Niro, so he's
Yeah,
gonna hold his own, and I think that added another element to the first movie. But the real problem, and we'll get into this now, the cinematography. So, what the fuck? Like, this isn't a hot take, but this whole singing musical aspect was just not it. And I think I'm gonna pose the question to you: do you think Todd Phillips is just bad at sequels? Because now we have Joker 2, we have The Hangover 2 and The Hangover 3, which are just light years away from their original. Yeah.
I don't know. I will say, dude, sequels are tough. Now, with that though, they're not this bad usually.
No.
This was so far off from the path of the original Joker. The problem is, to be fair, I think after watching the original or the first Joker, I think we were thinking of that, or at least me personally, I thought of that as like the Joker origin story. And then I thought we were going to get a more like DC Joker movie in the second one. And the fact that it takes place 4 days after and he's literally just in prison awaiting his trial the whole time, and then it all takes place in the courtroom. It isn't until the last 10 minutes of the movie that like you see an explosion and shit starts really popping off.
Nothing really happens.
Yeah, exactly. It was such a fucking boring movie. And then, I mean, to be fair, the first part of the movie until the first song, I was kind of locked in and I was wondering, why is this so bad? And then they immediately break out into song. I think it's when like Arthur Fleck is watching himself on TV or something, where they're talking about him on the news, and he starts going around the other prisoners and like singing. I'm like, what the fuck am I watching? Like, what happened here?
To be fair, I honestly think it would have been fine if they used that one scene and then no more musical for the rest of the movie, because it's so obvious. It's right, but that scene alone was just him in his head, like going crazy, which was fucking weird. And I don't really think it was amazing, but I'm trying to just play devil's advocate here. I don't know why they thought making a borderline horror movie, like, it's not horror, but it's super, super dark and super successful too, why they're taking such a risk at this. Like, I don't hate musicals either. That's the thing. I like La La Land. I think there are times when musicals do play. The Joker is not like, if you were to just say this to me in a writer's room, I would have laughed in your face, like, no pun intended, if you tried to sell me on this idea. And we're not the first people that are going to have this take, but it's the correct take. It just takes away from the entire suspense and all of the buildup that this movie can have. Yeah. But nonetheless, it is tough to just making a better sequel is tough. So I do think that is true.
You can make this movie, or like you can do the fantasy scenes without the singing. Yeah. You can make the Joker look crazy and be in his fantasy land without the pianos playing and them dancing the whole time. It's like, yeah, they didn't need that, so why did they go that route? That's what I want to know.
Yeah. Okay, so I don't know if we set our scores. So I gave this a 3.9 for cinematography. I feel like you might be lower.
I gave cinematography a 2.8.
Okay. Yeah, so
it's
it's bad.
It's bad, and I will say it sucks because the score is so low because the music completely takes me out of the movie. But like outside of that, it did kind of give me like old school type Batman vibes, like The Dark Knight. Like some of the scene, like the way the scenes were shot, like in the prison and like outside in the city streets, like him coming in through the car. I was like, okay, this kind of gives me like Batman-esque vibes. But then the songs just completely took me out of the movie. It
really does, man. And there is some cool camera work. That's why I'm probably a little higher on you like when they're in the movie theater, it's like at the prison, and him and Lady Gaga are singing to each other, but there's a projector behind them.
Yeah.
It's symbolic, sure, but it just takes away from what could have been way more of a better sequel. And I don't know if that's like the proper way to say that English wise, but it was fine. Like the dream scenes, like when he's singing, they're shot in like a different lens, which again, it's cool, but
The animation
costumes,
at the beginning was cool too.
yeah, the animation was cool in the beginning. I had that written down, but you're right. It's plain and simple. I couldn't get into this movie. It didn't have any flow or pacing because anytime there was some sort of development in the story, which we'll get into writing, like it was light years off of number one, the first Joker, it just took me away. I was like, oh my God, like stop fucking singing. There was like probably 10 songs in this whole movie.
It was seemingly every like 15 to 20 minutes.
Yeah.
It was like, goddamn, another song.
Yeah. Whoever's in that writer...
the best part was when they were about to do, Lady Gaga was about to do the last song, and Joker's like, shh.
Yeah. He literally says stop singing, and that was like the funniest part of the whole movie to me. So, writing for me, I gave this a 4.5. And
wow.
I feel like, again, you're going to be a lot lower than me.
I gave it a 1.7. I just did not
Damn.
fuck with this movie, bro.
So,
I will say, wait, I do want to say there's one funny line I had written down. And it's when the guards lied to that, like, autistic guy in the prison. And he, like, walks up to Arthur Fleck and he's like, hey, the guards told me you wanted to show me how to kiss. Or some shit like that. And it's like, goddamn, like, of course he fell for that.
Yeah. Some of his jokes were still hitting. Like, some of the ones that Arthur Fleck came up with, like, they're just completely dark and horribly twisted, but they make sense. And I got a chuckle out of a couple of those. But overall, man, the story was just very plain. And it felt almost like they took the B-roll footage of the first Joker and were like, we're going to make this its entire movie. It's almost like Todd Phillips just got high on his own supply and didn't realize, like, the success he would garner from Joker 1. And it was just rushed and horribly, horribly panned out. But the real...
it wasn't rushed, right? Didn't Joker 1 come out, like, 2019 or some shit?
Exactly. I mean, rush probably isn't the right word. It's just they went with this whole idea... I just don't know if it wasn't a musical, if that would have necessarily made it a great movie. There's no way in hell it would have been better than the first movie.
Yeah.
Because I think a reason why a lot of people that attach themselves to this movie liked it is because it shows how fucked up mental institutions can be when this guy... You almost feel bad for him, even though he's a sociopath. He literally murders 5 people in the first movie. And you kind of feel... 6. And you kind of feel... You're kind of rooting for him to shoot Robert De Niro at the end. Because of how much of a douchebag he's being. And it's horrible, but that's just kind of the magic... That's not the right word. That's why the first movie is so good, is because it takes this whole... character arc of showing you how Arthur is this failed comedian, how nobody has ever rooted for him in his life. He's laughing stock, and he makes it into something. And this movie there's no character development at all. I also didn't like Lady Gaga's interpretation, as I mentioned before. I didn't think anything real. There wasn't really a lesson to this movie, and I thought the whole, like, climax part when Lady Gaga just tells Arthur that he's not the Joker, he's just Arthur Fleck. Like, dude, it's the Joker. Like, we know he's crazy. I just thought this whole plot was just kind of fodder to me, and it was just very lazily written.
Your point about Joker 1, it was so entertaining because, again... I'm not condoning anyone goes crazy and kills 6 people, but Joker 1, you're like rooting for Arthur Fleck. The whole movie, you see him getting beat down, and then finally he stands up for himself, And as a viewer, you're like shocked because what he's doing is absolutely brutal. But at the same time, you're like, fuck yeah, like those douchebags deserve that. Whereas in this movie, you're watching Arthur battle with that inner demon, and then it gets to a point where it's like, oh shit, okay, he's gonna go full Joker mode. I'm ready for shit to pop off. And then he immediately reverts back into just like the battered, like shelled version of himself. And it's like his character arc does a complete 180 or 360. Like, it was building up to being like a crazy Joker, and then it just dies back down, and literally he gets killed at the end. It's like, what the fuck? You wanted to see him pop off.
There just wasn't. This movie just lacked so much substance to me. It wasn't interesting at all, and it's just this. It's mild. It's very disappointing because it's probably. I'd say it's one of the most highly anticipated movies of the year. It's probably like it could be number one in terms of how many people were excited to go see it, and it's just a shame that it seems like they took a big shit on it and thought that people would just watch it anyways. But it's more so the musical part that a lot of people are going to be triggered with. That obviously wasn't good, but like I said, it wouldn't have been good if there wasn't singing in it.
No, I think you're 100% right on that, because I was thinking that as well. Like, if it wasn't a musical, would it have been good as a standalone like sequel? And the answer is no, because again, the first movie you were building up the Joker to be like the Joker we all know, just create havoc in Gotham the whole time until Batman comes to stop him. The problem is the second movie, it's literally, again, a span of a few days while he's just sitting, rotting away in prison and going through his trial. It's like, it would have been the most boring thing. Especially with shit finally popping off in the last 5 to 10 minutes of the movie.
What was the end game, too, of the whole movie? Like, there was no... The problem was
he's so tragic.
Like, yeah, the problem is he's in prison for the murder of 6 people. 5 people that they know of, and then they find out about his mom, like, later on, I guess. Yeah. So am I supposed to root for him to get away with it and be the Joker? Like, I just thought the whole idea of making this entire movie a trial made it completely underwhelming. They should have just had him break out of the movie early. Like, they should have had him just break out of prison. I would have rewritten this completely differently. Have Harley Quinn in it, fine. Don't make her this snobby rich girl who's like singing melodies every 20 seconds, because that fucking was stupid as hell. And there's just so many ways that they could have added a bit of an edge to this. And that, like I tried to start mentioning before, I give this a 2.5 for entertainment. It's a Joker movie, dude. There's one explosion in the entire thing, which was a cool scene, I guess. But by that point, it was just over for me. Like, I did not give a fuck at that point. So
also, I was just waiting for that scene to happen because it was in the trailer. So it's like, when you're 95% done with the movie and you haven't seen the big explosion in the trailer, I'm like, okay, well, fucking happen at some point, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, my entertainment was 1.5. I'm not gonna lie. Coming into this movie, I already had lower and lower expectations. Anytime I would go to the movie theater to watch a new movie, this Joker trailer was on, and each time I watched it and I heard them sing that Hallelujah song, I was like, this fucking sucks. Like, I'm going to hate this. And then finally the reviews came out, and I went to the movies like earlier this week when I watched it, and I was kind of hoping maybe I would have a different point of view. And the first 15 minutes kind of had me hooked. I was like, okay, this might be decent. And then that first song breaks out, and then another song, and then another song, and then another song. I'm like, this is the worst, and I wouldn't want to recommend this to anyone.
I will go on a little bit of a tangent here. Part of the reason we do the show is because we like to come up with our own fresh takes on movies, right? And you and I both had heard the noise going into this, that it's a musical, this movie sucks, yada, yada, yada. I wanted to just clear my mind of that and try and take it objectively. And you were right. The first 10, 15 minutes, I was like, okay, this is pretty good. And I don't know how they can make this that bad. And it really just... Everyone's right.
They exceeded our expectations.
It's fucking trash, dude. This movie is so fucking bad. I would never watch it again. Not to mention, it's not even like a feel-good movie. It's not funny, really, in any ways.
Dude, one wins. Arthur Fleck doesn't win. Lady Gaga doesn't win. The viewers don't win.
And we paid for it.
Yeah.
Physically. I gave them my money.
And I watched
to make
it in
this
Cinemark
garbage.
XD. I paid extra to watch this.
You wanted better sound to hear these fucking songs. Oh my god. The best part of the movie, I said it once before, was when Joaquin Phoenix walks up the stairs. First of all, we had the whole stairs in the first movie as this symbolic way of showing Arthur growing up in poverty and how he's climbing to the top. They used them one time in the entire movie. Like, I think Todd Phillips just dropped MDMA and was like, let's fucking go crazy here. Like, this is going to be sick. They don't even know what they want here. Like, I know. I'm Todd Phillips. Like, nah, dude, you're a fucking idiot. This was the dumbest direction you could ever fucking take. I will watch Todd Phillips' original movies. If he tries to take on, like, the Batman down the road, I'll check it out, but I won't watch the second one because I know it will be ass. I don't have really anything positive to say about it, aside from, I guess, the opening part of the movie, which was a little neat, but come on now, what are we doing? Why is the Joker singing? And not to mention, Joaquin Phoenix can't sing. He's a great actor. Awesome actor. All-time actor.
Whoa. You're talking about Johnny Cash from Walk the Line.
The dude he has no vocals. I did not think he had a good voice at all. Not to mention, it pissed me off that he was even singing in the first place. So maybe I'm not looking at it objectively, but what do you expect me to do? Like, I'm comparing this to Heath Ledger. Come on, get the fuck out of here.
I know. I wanted him to make a
nonsense.
pencil disappear.
It's fucking nonsense. And I don't want to hear people in the comments saying, dude, they're not the same Joker. Like, it's the name the Joker. I get that Todd Phillips has said it's not the same, but why are we listening to Todd Phillips? This dude's a fucking moron, and I'm done. Like, I'm done with it. I will go rewatch the first Joker many times because that's a good movie. I'll recommend that to everybody, but I'm not recommending this garbage to anybody. I've actively told at least 5 people that it's complete ass. I think that's the terminology I used. Like, word for word.
Todd Phillips is going to come beat your ass.
No, he's not.
Let's look up a picture of Todd Phillips and see. Let's rate 1 through 10 whether he can beat your ass.
Todd Phillips definitely thinks he's so much smarter than everyone by making this trash. It's like, they don't even know what I'm giving them.
Todd Phillips is 53 years old. Oh, and he's 6 foot, though. He might be able to beat your ass.
I'm 6 foot. I don't think the Joker should be singing melodies. That's just the softest shit I've ever seen. Come at me, Todd. Come on the podcast, though. We'll review Joker 3 if you want to take a stab at that one. But you can't because you fucking killed him. So that gives us a final score of a 3.4. And that is pretty low on our ratings. And it's, like I said, it's pretty disappointing that we're giving this movie that score. But
it deserves it.
You gotta, yeah, just be better, and we won't rip it. We will praise your movie if it's done well. And the one saving grace, I know I'm ripping Todd Phillips. I'm being sarcastic in some light. Like, I'm not gonna fucking Murray Franklin his ass, but
you definitely think you'd beat his ass though.
Yeah, I for sure. But he did try to be very bold with the musical thing. So, I guess.
So?
Sure. Whatever. I'll just leave that on the record that he tried, but everyone in that writer's room who nodded and said, like, dude, this is fire, is an absolute clown and needs to be. Those are the absolute clowns. They should have just been like, dude, what are you doing? Like, the Joker should not be singing.
Look, at the end of the day, like, there are directors I love that make shitty ass movies. M. Night Shyamalan, for example. But, like, if your movie's shitty, like, it deserves to be shit on.
Right.
Just come back and make a better movie. But like,
That's why they pay you
this
the
one
big
was-
bucks.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. You took my money, Todd Phillips, so you're gonna take my rude comments. But
Yeah, dude. Yeah, Todd Phillips.
I don't
want,
actually.
I want, Todd Phillips, I want $12.76 back, actually.
I'm gonna Venmo request you.
Yeah.
I'm gonna Venmo
Sell
you.
me.
Yeah. So that's going to do it here for episode number 19 here of Ripe Avocados. Joker 2. I'm just going to call it that. It doesn't even deserve for me to give it that French name. That's just the name of this movie. Joker, whatever. I'm just sick of talking about this.
Joker shitbox.
Yeah. We will be back next Tuesday for another episode 20 coming up. And until next time, peace out.
Deuces.
I dream of the places I've been with you, always sad with the street.